Starting off with the LA Angels, I think they should trade Luis Rengifo. The Angels stink, but they should be able to get back some decent prospects in return for Luis Rengifo, who also has one more season of club control after this year. He's very versatile, and he's putting up good numbers at the plate, including a batting average over 300 and a WRC plus over 120. For the Houston Astros, I think they should trade for Zach Littell. The Astros got off to a bad start this year, but have turned things around recently, and a big part of that is due to a better starting rotation. However, with Christian Javier out for the season, Justin Verlander dealing with a neck issue, along with Lance McCullers Jr. only just coming back from elbow surgery, it might be a good idea to add some depth. One guy who could be a bit cheaper, which would be helpful with the Astros thinning farm system, is Zach Littell. He's having a decent season this year, posting a FIP under 4 and only walking 1.6 batters per 9, which the Astros would probably welcome considering they rank last in walks per 9 this year. For the Oakland A's, I think they should trade Brent Rooker. The A's are at least a couple of years away from competing, and with Brent Rooker about to go into his 30s, I say take advantage of his value while it's high. He's been tremendous this season, posting a WRC plus over 150 and comes with plenty of club control. He'll be a welcome addition to many teams out there looking for a bat. For the Toronto Blue Jays, I think they should trade Bo Bichette. The Blue Jays have been extremely underwhelming this year, so it's probably in their best interest to sell off what they can and retool for next season. The player they have with the most trade value as of right now is Bo Bichette, who has one more season of club control and plays a high value position at shortstop. Sure, he's having a down season at the plate, but it's the first down season of his career, and if a team in contention out there thinks they can get him back on the right track, then I say get what you can for him. For the Atlanta Braves, I think they should trade for Tommy Pham. After losing Ronald Acuna Jr., the Braves have been trying to find consistency with their offense since then. With the Braves bringing back the lefty bat of Eddie Rosario recently, I say take a similar approach to what they did in 2021 and add a righty bat as well. I think Tommy Pham, who Alex Anthopoulos has spoken highly of, would be a great addition. He showed last year he can thrive in a winning environment, helping get the D-backs to a World Series. With the Braves looking to get back to a World Series, I think this is a perfect fit. For the Milwaukee Brewers, I think they should trade for Eric Fedde. The Brewers really needed starting pitching after trading away Corbin Burns, and they helped themselves by acquiring Aaron Savali, but they should go for more. I think Eric Fedde would be perfect. He's having a great season, including posting an ERA as of right now under 3 and a FIP of 3.53. He also gets plenty of ground balls, which would be great with the Brewers infield ranking second overall in outs above average. For the St. Louis Cardinals, I think they should trade for Luis Robert. They went for him back in 2017, but here's their chance for him again 7 years later. The Cardinals got off to a bad start this year, but have gotten themselves together and find themselves in the wild card picture. With Nolan Arenado only just finding himself at the plate and Goldschmidt having a down year in the last year of his deal, the Cardinals could really use another impact bat. While Michael Ciani has provided great defense in center field, he doesn't come close to what Robert can do with the bat, as he's hit 11 home runs in 41 games with a WRC plus of 114. His batting average and on-base percentage are also starting to creep back up. And of course, people will always comment on the injury history of Robert, but he was healthy for the most part last year and has looked fine since a hip injury earlier in the season. For the Chicago Cubs, I think they should trade for Kyle Finnegan. The Cubs are in a weird predicament where they don't have a great record, but they have a talented roster with star power and find themselves within 5 games of a wild card spot. While the offense is capable of producing runs and the rotation is performing well, the bullpen has lacked, as the Cubs only rank 25th in Fangraph wins above replacement for relief pitching. They've also suffered injuries there with Aber Alzolay and Yency Almonte, and Hector Neris has a FIP near 5. Finnegan is having a solid year for the Nationals, posting an ERA under 2.5 with 9.3 strikeouts per 9 and 25 saves, and would give the Cubs a nice lift at the back end of the bullpen, as well as insurance for Alzolay. If they sell, I say trade away Nico Horner. While he's not putting up the same numbers as last year, he's still a dependable player, and he has 2 more seasons left on his contract. For the Arizona Diamondbacks, I think they should trade for Andrew Nardi. The D-backs find themselves in the hunt for a wild card, but haven't gotten much out of the lefties in their bullpen this year, minus Joe Mantiply, as they only rank 29th in Fangraph WAR when it comes to left-handed relief pitching. While Nardi's ERA, currently at 4.67, doesn't look great, his FIP of 2.47 looks much better, and he's striking out 11 batters per 9. For For the LA Dodgers, I think they should trade for Garrett Crochet. It's time for the Dodgers to make another blockbuster. They've been scuffling a bit as of late, suffering numerous injuries in the rotation, bullpen, and lineup. Eventually, they'll get their stars back like Betts, Muncy, Yamamoto, Glasnow, Buehler, and some bullpen guys like Joe Kelly, Brusdar Graterol, and Ryan Brazier, but I think it would be a great move to add another top-tier arm in Crochet. He'll most likely see his innings managed this year since he's already set a career high and is recently coming off Tommy John, but with all the pitchers the Dodgers have coming back, I think they could manage his innings easily. The Dodgers already have good options to start postseason games, so they could end up using Crochet in a similar role like how Cleveland used Andrew Miller back in 2016. Since the Dodgers are deep in prospects, another idea could be to also try and get a package deal with Eric Fetty if they wanted to add another starter for the rotation. For the San Francisco Giants, I think they should trade for Bo Bichette. Back to Bo Bichette, shall we? While the Giants have gotten some decent production from Tyler Fitzgerald and Brett Wisely, it could be worth looking into finding a consistent option at shortstop. Fitzgerald and Wisely have versatility so they can find at-bats at other positions. As for Bo, sure, he's having a down season at the plate, but the Giants have shown in the past they can get more out of players. It also seems like he could use a change of scenery, as he stated he thinks he'll end up getting moved, while also stating in San Francisco before a game that he wants to win. For the Cleveland Guardians, I think they should trade for Nathan Eovaldi. The Guardians have looked great this season with a much better offense compared to the 2023 team, and their bullpen has been lights out. As for the starting pitching though, well, that's been a bit of an issue as they rank 28th in Fangraph wins above replacement on the year, getting down seasons from Tristan McKenzie and Logan Allen. With the Guardians looking like true contenders this year, I would love for them to add a proven postseason performer, and one guy is Nathan Eovaldi. With the Guardians looking like true contenders this year, I would love for them to add a proven postseason performer, and one guy is Nathan Eovaldi. It's unknown if the Rangers sell at this point, but if they do, this could be a great option for the Guardians rotation and help improve their postseason chances. If the Rangers don't sell, I think Yusei Kikuchi would be another solid option, as his strikeout to walk ratio ranks 13th overall in the major leagues. For the Seattle Mariners, I think they should trade for Jazz Chisholm. The Mariners lineup sure does feel like it could use some energy, as they rank 21st in offense on the year. One guy who's having a decent season and showing he's healthy is Jazz Chisholm. Overall, he's posted a .732 OPS with 12 home runs and 18 stolen bases at the time of this recording, and can play both center field and second base, which could be helpful for the Mariners. While his personality might rub some people the wrong way, and he did make some outlandish comments about a respected veteran in Miguel Rojas in the offseason, he is someone that can bring some energy to a team, and the Mariners surely could use that. For the Miami Marlins, I think they should trade Josh Bell. Jesus Luzardo would have been my pick here, but at this moment, with him dealing with a back injury, I think he ends up staying until the offseason. Who knows, though? Perhaps he ends up healing well, and maybe a team in need of pitching ends up getting desperate. With that said, though, I say the Marlins should move Josh Bell. He's not having a great season, but if the Marlins eat the rest of his contract, perhaps a team in need of a first baseman and some pop could give up a prospect for him. For the New York Mets, I think they should trade for Carlos Estevez. The Mets have been a very interesting team this year, with Grimace running around and Jose Iglesias having a concert after a game, and once considered for sure sellers have now turned themselves into potential buyers, as they're currently tied for a wild card spot. One area they could use some shoring up in is the bullpen, as it only ranks 22nd in Fangraph WAR and 26th in walks per nine. Carlos Estevez has been one of the better closers in baseball this year, saving 17 games with a FIP of 2.81 and only 1.1 walks per nine. It looks like Edwin Diaz has himself together after some bumps, but Estevez will give the Mets another stable option at the back end of the bullpen. For the Washington Nationals, I think they should trade Jesse Winker. The Nationals got off to a decent start this year, but as expected, have faded as of late. One guy who's turned in a bounce-back season for them this year, though, is Jesse Winker. After a couple of down seasons in Seattle and Milwaukee, Winker has an OPS of .817, along with 11 home runs and 12 stolen bases. Like always, he's hitting righties very well, posting a WRC plus of 149 against them, and a team out there will definitely be intrigued, considering he's on an extremely cheap one-year deal. For the Baltimore Orioles, I think they should trade for Tarek Skubal. Okay, I'm going to say this right off the bat. I think there's almost a 0% chance Skubal gets traded. When you think about it, though, with the Orioles really needing starting pitching after a bunch of injuries, what options do they have for impact guys? Sure, Garrett Crochet would be nice, but he'll most likely be on an innings limit by the postseason, so will they be able to utilize him how they would would want. If the Rangers don't sell, then guys like Eovaldi and Scherzer won't be going anywhere. In-division trades for guys like Yusei Kikuchi or Zach Eflin would be nice, but do they really help put you over the edge? Skubal going alongside Corbin Burnes in the playoffs would be a game changer, and if there's a team that could get it done, it's the Orioles with the prospects they have. Another thing too is they would have him under club control for the next 2 seasons, and that would be great if Corbin Burnes ends up going elsewhere in free agency. Of course, there's also the other side of the coin. Why would the Tigers trade him since they want to compete in the future? Well, he does have the injury history, so perhaps the Tigers think this is a good chance to sell high on him to get back some impact bats for their system, a system that lacks bats but already has some impact starting pitching in Jackson Jobe. Again, this is probably a pipe dream, but if the Orioles really want to go for it this year, this could be the move to try and make. If not Skubal, I would go after the other names I've mentioned previously in this video. For the San Diego Padres, I think they should trade for Jack Flaherty. The Padres have been connected to starting pitching in the rumor mill this year with guys like Garrett Crochet. While I think he might be a bit too expensive for San Diego, I think a rental like Flaherty could make some sense. While he is having one of the best seasons of his career, he's had trouble with home runs, ranking second worst with his home run to fly ball ratio. Petco Park is very pitcher friendly, and it also helps that he's a California native. For the Philadelphia Phillies, I think they should trade for Taylor Ward. When it comes to hitting left-handers this year, the Phillies only rank 15th overall, and outfielder Brandon Marsh hasn't been hitting them well either. One guy who's been mashing lefties this year is Taylor Ward, who's hitting .354 against them with a WRC plus of 167. While he doesn't hit righties as well, he has hit for power against them this year, and he could be an everyday option out in left field, with Marsh moving to center field, and Christian Pache, who's hit lefties well in his career, could be another option off the bench. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, I think they should trade for Mark Canha. Point blank, the Pirates have great pitching, but they need a boost in offense. Someone like Mark Canha, who's hitting lefties very well this year with a 148 WRC plus, would give the Pirates another right-handed bat that could be a platoon in both right field with Joshua Palacios and at first base with Rowdy Tellez. For the Texas Rangers, I think they should trade for Dylan Floro. The Rangers are in quite the conundrum here. They're 7 games back in the division and 7.5 out in the wild card, but Scherzer has come out and said they're basically going for it, and both Jacob deGrom and Evan Carter should be back in the second half. If they do end up buying, though, I say improve the bullpen. Besides Kirby Yates and David Robertson having good seasons, the Rangers' bullpen has struggled, including having the second worst walk per 9 rate in the major leagues. One guy out there who's doing a great job at keeping the walks down this year is Dylan Floro. In 46 games, he's posted a 2.20 ERA and a 2.30 FIP, all while walking only 2.2 batters per 9. If they do end up selling, they have plenty of guys on expiring deals they could move. I say the guy they sell high on is Kirby Yates, who's having an amazing season as the Rangers closer at 37 years old. For the Tampa Bay Rays, I think they should trade Isaac Paredes. Paredes is having a solid season, posting an OPS over 820 with 15 home runs, and has plenty of club control, making his trade value very high. With top prospect Junior Caminero waiting in the wings down in the minor leagues, I say the Rays do what they do best, and that's have a finger on the pulse both now and the future. Trading Paredes to a team in need of a bat would bring back a good package of prospects, and Caminero can continue to get more experience in the major leagues for the rest of the season as they prepare for 2025. For the Boston Red Sox, I think they should trade for Zach Eflin. The Red Sox are exceeding expectations this year, don't say I didn't tell you, and find themselves in the wild card hunt. A big reason for that has been the new president of baseball operations, Craig Breslow, and pitching coach Andrew Bailey revamping the pitching, but they have been a little less effective as of late. I say go for an in-division trade with the Rays and get a veteran who they tried to get a couple of years ago, Zach Eflin. One thing the Red Sox have preached this year is strike throwing, and Eflin does that very well as he ranks first overall in walks per 9 in the major leagues. For the Cincinnati Reds, I think they should trade for Brent Rooker. The Reds have been marred by injuries this year, but still find themselves in the thick of the wild card race. One thing they could use is a bat, as they only rank 24th in WRC plus on the year, and one guy having a great season is Brent Rooker. Overall, he's posted an OPS just under 900 and a WRC plus of 155 while hitting 18 home runs. He's a bat the Reds could comfortably stick in a corner outfield spot or DH while the Reds can shuffle around other guys. He does come with 3 more seasons of club control, something I can see being great for the Reds as they start to enter a competitive window. For the Colorado Rockies, I think they should trade Brendan Rodgers. The Rockies are already starting to look towards their future, with Adale Amador getting some playing time this year. With former 3rd overall pick Brendan Rodgers a free agent after next year, I say try to cash in while he has some value and trade him to to a team in need of some infield depth. For the Kansas City Royals, I think they should trade for Lane Thomas. The Royals outfield ranks dead last in offense among all outfields this year, and their left fielder MJ Melendez has a negative 25 WRC+. They need a righty to help balance things out, so why not go back to a team you just made a trade with, the Washington Nationals, for Lane Thomas? He's always hit lefties well in his career, and he's absolutely wrecking them this year, hitting .359 with a 182 WRC+ against them. For the Detroit Tigers, I think they should trade Andrew Chafin. The Tigers were looking like a team in contention in the early part of the season, but they've tailed off since then. Teams are always in need of relievers at the deadline. Andrew Chafin is very much used to getting moved at the deadline, and he's having a pretty good year, so they might as well get something back for him as he's only on a cheap one-year deal. For the Minnesota Twins, I think they should trade for Yusei Kikuchi. The Twins' rotation has held it down this year, even after the departure of Sonny Gray, and while Pablo Lopez has better advanced metrics than his ERA shows, it feels like they could use a bit more for a postseason run. Simeon Woods Richardson will most likely have his innings managed this year, and Chris Paddock is probably more suited for a long relief role in the postseason, so adding a veteran arm in Kikuchi can help. He's posted solid numbers this season, with his strikeout to walk ratio ranking 13th overall in the major leagues. For the Chicago White Sox, I think they should trade Andrew Vaughn. Let's put the cherry on top of this White Sox fire sale by having them trade their third overall pick from 2019, Andrew Vaughn. While Vaughn has shown flashes of being the hitter that was drafted out of Cal, he just hasn't really reached that potential since being rushed up in 2021. While his numbers overall are down this season, he is hitting lefties well, posting a 120 WRC+ and a 790 OPS against them. I say get what you can for him at this point, move on, and see if he can get his career going with another team before he becomes a free agent in a couple of years. And last but not least, for the New York Yankees, I think they should trade for Tanner Scott. The Yankees have stumbled as of late, but I still think they have a good team with plenty of talent. One area that could use a bit more, though, is the bullpen, especially on the left-handed side. As of right now, the Yankees lefties only rank 27th overall in Fangraph WAR with a negative 0.4. Tanner Scott, who's having another great season for the Marlins, would be a perfect addition in my opinion. While Clay Holmes is the closer, Scott would give the Yankees another option near or at the end of games, as he's pitched well in both setup and closing roles in the last 2 years. So that's my list. Tell me what you think down below in the comments. What trades do you hope to see by the trade deadline? Let me know. But that's all I got for right now. If you can on the way out, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.